Hello, Mark. Welcome to the Creative Insider Podcast. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm super excited to have you on because you are whether the founder of or one of the founders of the Bulgarian Design Group, which is an awesome Facebook community, which I found about recently, and I really wanted to know more about you. So, if you want, you can introduce yourself briefly about what you do and your background.
Sure. I'm the founder of the Bulgarian Design Group Foundation. It's actually much more than a Facebook community. It's the Facebook group is just part of the whole structure of the organization. It is the forum, the place where everybody's sharing idea on daily basis. But the other pillar of the organization are the monthly meetings. These are meetups with two parts. First part is a um, skill sharing time where a guest is talking with me, just like we are talking to each other now, sharing insights, workflows, and other cool things from the kitchen. And the second part is a networking part where we gather in the next bar and we mingle. So we do have also in the organization a mentorship program. We do have special content. We do have a glossary. We're building a professional glossary because most of the professional terms are coming from English, and sometimes things are getting lost into the translation when you're working locally with local clients. What else? We do have some other initiatives as well. Right now, we are doing a yearbook which will combine the works of some local stars, and this will be used as an archive to see what have been done in this period. So in 10 years time or in some other years, you can go back and see, hey, they've done actually pretty cool stuff, like logos and packaging design and web design and even street art. Of course, there's more to tell about Bulgarian Design Group, but the most interesting thing is that I started this myself in 2007. A couple of friends jumped in as administrators of the group, but mostly me and my team from Ralev.com, which I'll tell you more about later. We've been behind this, generating most of the content, creating the website, the platform where people are subscribed and contribute. Unfortunately, we are not an army of people. It's basically me and some people are jumping in from time to time to help with what they could. Yeah.
Yeah, I found out about your group thanks to our former guest Alex Mileva. She told on the podcast about the group, and I was very excited to hear that there is this community where people try to help each other, uh, improve each other's skills, share knowledge, and these organized events. And I know how hard it is to build a community that's not an empty community or foundation. Any kind of organization is quite difficult to set up. So I was really curious about the background. But I always like to start from the beginning and to understand what is the background of each person that comes and talks, so that the people who are listening can maybe give themselves an evaluation if it could be something similar for them. So what was the case for you? What was the reason for which you wanted to become a designer, and what was the moment you decided you want to become a designer? Is this because of maybe family background, or how did it happen?
Yeah, my father is very good with graphics and with art. He's even doing like woodworks. My mother is into linguistics and she's very good with words. So gathering all this DNA, I've got the perfect setup for a career into advertisement and modern graphic design because it includes very often some marketing approach, some SEO, and some other skills nowadays. But yeah, as a kid, I used to draw a lot, like sketching some buildings, even doing my own board games, you name it, like everything that's doodling on the back of the notebooks, everything you could imagine. And at early age, I got access to a computer, and I've got the chance to be part of an apartment building. We've been living in an apartment building where most of the families were related to the local universities. So there were a lot of smart kids with access to computers, and we were exchanging ideas, programs, and computer know-how. So this is how I got into computers. And once I got the computer in front of me, I spent more time with graphic programs instead of playing games. And I used to joke that while the other kids were playing Quake 3, I was playing Photoshop. Of course, later on I've searched for some way to continue this passion, and I found a way to sign up at the Technical University of Sofia, which offers a unique program combining engineering and design. It's called Engineer Design Specialty. It's something like product design, like for industrial purposes, and they teach you mathematics, physics, chemistry, even welding and some other engineering basics, uh, where I've met really cool teachers, old school guys, like huge talents, and they guided me. And maybe it's worth mentioning that at school I started building websites and they start paying to me. So technically speaking, I started making money maybe when I was like 16, 17. So it's been 20 years now. I've been in the business, creating various websites. And at the university, having the chance to learn from some of the most prominent local design masters, um, they suggested that I should focus on branding because logos and brand design was something that they identified as my strength. So I said, okay, sure. I mean, if you say so, you're the knowledgeable people, maybe I should pursue this. And besides, a lot of people at the time were starting offering website solutions. So I needed to find some niche and develop it and occupy it in a way locally so that I could be the best in it. And yeah, in so I've started at the university in 2004. I graduated with some delay, and in 2000, I believe, seven, I started one of the biggest logo design blogs in the world. At that time, there were like two blogs like this, uh, like with content that actually deserves to be read and some updates that were pushed regularly. One was I Love Logo Design, I think. It's an Australian guy, very cool guy. You should maybe invite him in the podcast. And then was Logo Design, Logo Blink, logoblink.com, my blog. But the other guy was pushing content way more often. My English is not native, unfortunately, so it was much harder for me to generate content in English. Also, at the time, there were no softwares like Grammarly that are helping you to polish what comes out in terms of text and presentation. So at some point, I just stopped doing it. But it was huge. It was huge at the time, and this book gave me really cool insight of what the world brands are doing and how things should be done in general. What are different approaches when doing rebranding? What are different brand designers thinking in general for this trade? Where this could lead? And also what could be improved in this trade. So yeah, in 2004, parallel with my university, I started my own studio, Ralev.com, Ralev. And in 2007, I've invited my first employee, who turned out to be my wife later on. And yeah, she's still pretty good at pre-press and UX. At the time, I was good with all digital stuff, animations. Flash was big back in the days. So we were a pretty good match with our interest in branding as well. And yeah, later on we've continued developing. I've developed my photo and video skills much more. She developed her UX skills much more. And we've invited more people to join the team. And yeah, we grew to about 10 people from 2011 to 2021. We were on average, 8, 9, 10 people in the studio with different skills. Now we are just a few guys, but we are trying to cover as well different type of skills so that if client comes, we could serve him or her 360, doing logo design, even actually, let's start from the naming. Naming is where you invent the name of the brands through research and different other tools. Logo design, brand books, websites, e-com solutions, animations, video production. We all do this in-house, and we're very proud that we have this knowledge.
Do you do
I've been
also
talking
like
a lot.
No. I was super interested into this thing, and while you were telling your story, I was thinking about other things that could ask because I'm curious about this. I wanted to ask you if you do also brand strategy, and the other thing that I was really curious while listening to you is you started, if I'm not wrong, you said 2006, 2007. I don't know. The office.
I'm in the office, the studio. Yeah,
Yeah,
2004. Like,
2004. Sorry,
yeah,
even earlier. You look younger. That's why I thought 2007. Yeah, I was thinking, what if you work on the Bulgarian market or internationally, and if on the Bulgarian market, how is this? How are these skills that you guys have? How is the market for these products that you guys um, put out there?
yeah. Starting with your first question, yes, we do offer some brand strategy more and more. Back in the days, it was just, hey, can I have a logo? Then people understood about brand books, then the power of like laying out the foundations and having everything set up. But yeah, we're doing some strategy. Usually, clients are not like that much willing to pay about it. Also, sometimes we overlap with the marketing department of the client because we do cover from solopreneurs to government projects. And very often in the middle with the SMEs and the companies, they do have some internal marketing department where people are already working on this type of brand strategy, and they have a brand manager or something. So we're not alone in this, and we're helping these guys. And if you're a brand manager and you're listening to this, yeah, maybe we might be able to help you, and we will be able to speak on the same language, and you'll find an ally in our face. But about the rest, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but early on we started working with international clients. Maybe these were people and friends who get a recommendation. Actually, yeah, we were recommended to them by some friends of ours. You know, there are a lot of Bulgarians spread across the world. So I think that's how we got our first international client. Of course, back in the days, as you remember, 99 Designs were big, and sites like this. So we've tried to see me and my wife and team at the time how what are these clients like? I mean, what they want? Can we match them in a way? So that's another way how we've gained some international clients. Another way is that back in maybe it was 2007 or six, I've generated a lot of free stock images in one of the growing stock banks at the time called sxc.who. I don't know if you remember it. I think now it's called freestockimages.com or something. And my photos were downloaded more than 400,000 times. So yeah, now there should be close to 500,000 times. And some of these guys, they gave me credits. I mean, that was part of the deal. I give them free stock. They give me credit links. So that was my strategy for link building and bringing more traffic to the website, international traffic. And once you put your contact form there with budget, with what's the project about, you start to working with like maybe one of every 20 requests. So that's another way how we've gained international clients. Funny, there are clients that are be working now for I think 10 years now, and these guys were at an expo in London, and we were recommended both from UK guys and from Bulgarian guys. So it was funny because they were saying, "Hey, you've been recommended from everywhere, so we should definitely try working with you if you're so famous, even though you're in a South European capital like Sofia, based here." And yeah, but I mean, we are in LinkedIn as well. We do have recommendations. Like, for example, one of our more interesting international projects last year was the logo for the new European Cybersecurity Commission, which was the whole contact came from us working with the local European Commission office early
Mm-hmm.
on through the years. So for all the designers out there that want to make contacts, international contacts, and to try to serve clients from around the globe, my recommendation is try to do everything possible to build your network. Also, working with local entities that are part of a global network also helps, because if the local entity is happy with what you've done, the chance to recommend you to the global head office is huge. For example, this was the case when we were the official design studio for Ticket Pro. It's one of the big ticketing systems in the world. At least back in the days, it was like top three. That's exactly the way we gain this client. I mean, we've done our work properly on local level, and then we met the founder on a dinner. Like he was visiting the country. We liked each other, and he said, "Hey, maybe you can help with some design work for the other offices in Europe." So does this answer partially your
No,
question?
of course. This was like part of like another thing that I was curious because for me the goals of these conversations is to make other designers who are listening, no matter in which field they are, it's to learn how to make design a business, how to make design profitable because designers are these super passionate people that sometimes underestimate the value of their work, and because for the simple fact that they love what they do and they would do it even for free if, if they didn't have anything else to do. And it's important to talk about how you put your design out there as a product and as something that's a paid service.
Yeah,
And this was like because you've been, if people go and look into your background, you've been involved a lot into the also business side of the things, not only
yeah.
design. So
That's
I wanted to ask you what are like the, for in your opinion, some of the most valuable business skills that you had to develop beside being a designer, because of course the first thing is to be able to do a great job, as you said, so that people are happy with your work and they recommend you. But are there other, and networking, I guess, and are there other things that you might recommend as a business skill that designers should work on?
yeah. So first you were asking about how designers should put their work out there, then what type of skills, and then maybe more elaborate more on the business side of things, right?
Yes.
Okay, with putting your work out there, it's you build it and they'll come. I mean, I believe in this, especially nowadays with all these features in websites like building like top 50 most creative business cards. We've been featured in articles like this in Smashing magazines and some other blogs. So if you build something creative, somebody will take a picture, somebody will copy paste this in Pinterest, somebody will reach you. Just make sure you have your contacts somewhere discreetly on the image, or your name the image properly. It's a funny story because like maybe I don't know 7 8 years ago, a local building was finished here, and they asked us to do some shots for the. It's a commercial building. It's a mall, and they wanted some cool photos for their website. And I shot these, and I named them, blah blah blah, photo by Ralev.com. And I received a call from the Spanish architects, which actually found this photo on a website on a subcontractor that was working, on the building. And once they downloaded the photo, they noticed it says photo by Ralev.com. So this guy, of course, searched online. He reached me and said, "Hey, uh, could we just pay for the rights for these photos? Do you have any more of these, a better resolution and so on?" And really, really cool people. They paid for everything, and I actually double dipped on the same the same service that I've already provided, right? Because I've already shot these photos anyway, and it's this is the power of positioning yourself properly everywhere, like finding a short domain name, putting your domain name on your let's say VR avatar. So every time you play in the metaverse, you actually it says Genji.com. This is what, for example, now a project of mine, and I'm pushing it, and I know some of these guys are not just playing VR games and computer games, but they're playing tabletop games. And Gamgi.com, Gamgi.com. It's a board game system of ours. I'll talk about this later, I guess. But I'm playing in the VR, and then I'm advertising myself with no
Wear,
extra effort.
wear a
Free money.
t-shirt. Wear a t-shirt with your website in the real life too.
Yeah,
So
all the time, all the time. I mean, for games, I have like a bunch of different color T-shirts, like white, black, gray, you name it. With Ralev.com, early on, I've started doing like business cards and just talking to people what the heck I'm doing, because I got this situation. I was about to finish school, maybe last year of high school, and we were traveling with a buddy from the neighborhood to our school. It's a long drive, maybe like 1 hour with the bus, and he's mentioning, hey, because we've been asking each other, hey, what's up, what's going on, what's new, and this guy's like, hey, I needed to find a person to build my uncle's website, and it was a lot of hustle to find the proper person. And I'm listening to him, and then, he stops and I'm like, God, dude, I'm doing websites. Why didn't you call me? Like, I totally forgot about it. And at that point of time, I figured out I should just, blast people with what I'm doing, what my superpower, and not be shy, not be ashamed of like repeating, hey, I'm your design guy. If you need design, just call me. I figured out something. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and that was an early lesson for me personally. Also, it always helps if you put your stuff out there everywhere you can potentially could. Also, try to apply in like different competitions and in awards formats. That's useful as well. It gives you some credibility, recognition. My first more serious project was when I applied in to showcase my website on a local TV show called Interactive with Roro. I don't know if you remember this one, MMTV. Anyways,
no.
it was the first like cyber digital show showcasing different tools and websites. And then I was still a student, at high school, and I was so pumped when they showed my website on the TV screen. Oh, that's my website. And the guy from the TV show, the host said, "Hey, we're impressed. Could this guy give us a call after the show, and maybe he could work on our website?" And I was like, "Whoa! I'm just a kid at school, and they're giving me this opportunity." I never thought about what will be the money. Is it enough? No. I mean, I knew that once it says designed by Ralev out there at the bottom of this website, new clients are coming. I mean, no matter what. So it is a good idea to actually communicate your potential credits with clients. For example, there are clients that require no credits at the bottom of your website or your UX work, down there in the footer. So it's good to communicate, hey, I'm doing this, maybe for some optimized budget, but I do need this credit management. Or sometimes we've been negotiating credits where credits are usually not typically given. Like, for example, some labels, and we've arranged to have designed by Ralev with very tiny font somewhere there on the label, which is not typically done for like all physical products. But you know, we wanted to have this so we could be seen. So let's summarize. Just push really harder, create cool stuff, and somebody will like it and feature it. Participate in all type of formats. Build your network. Expose yourself to as many events and meetups as possibly, as possibly. Also, advertise yourself. Do your own branding. Like I'm very often joking, hey, what's your name and why they call you Ralev? And I'm joking, hey, my first name is Ralev and then my family name is .com. So that I put my website in their head early on, like Ralev.com. And I'm doing this in this conversation. I'm like repeating already like 4 or 5 times my own website. So eventually,
And go in the
somebody.
description of the video so that you find the link where you just can click without even typing Ralev.
Yeah, yeah, and by the way, it helped a lot building the credibility in my career because early on I've realized that the strategy for my studio would be to name it after myself because I wasn't sure what I'll be doing in 10 or 20 years, even back in 2004, because I knew things are developing at a higher pace and I might be doing VR or interior design or specialize in something that is not particularly like web design. Most of my friends at the time they created studios called some webdesign.com or they've included what they're doing in the name, but this actually restricted them of continue doing this exact thing. And I figured out, hey, I'll be Margarit Ralev all the time, so better get this and benefit from my short family name, get this cool domain, and we'll see how it goes. And once you name your venture after yourself, people know that you stand behind your name and behind your words. Because it's like with lawyers, right? Lawyers put their family names as the name of their business, and you know who's responsible for good and the bad results. You know who could you call if things go south or you need help. So that's another thing. That if your name allows it, it's a nice strategy to actually use it on the long run. And build as many websites as you could. They're called satellite websites in the SEO world. If you're doing SEO, search engine optimization, you're familiar with the strategy of building multiple websites, and they all should lead to your main portfolio. So, for example, I do have some old website called margarit.ralev.com. It's a subsite, but then Google is counting this as a separate website. So I'm building links, and also we have other internal projects through the years, and they all are linked in a way to our main portfolio. So yeah, so that was the one thing. And then business side, business wise, I've always been good with numbers, and studying in the technical university gave me this approach for problem solving. So I'm always approaching clients with the attitude of, hey, if I don't make money for you, then I don't deserve my my commission. So am I really doing something that will multiply your investment? Am I backing up my designs with logic and research and the belief that it will actually bring more
Value. Yeah,
value, yeah,
extra value.
to your business. Yeah. Because a lot of designers, let's be honest, we enjoy our trade, we enjoy creating images, doing original stuff and everything, but we don't always think about how this will affect client down the road in like 3, 5, and maybe 15, 20 years, especially with the low-end brand design. And yeah, you just you don't if you're a junior designer, you need to look at your client as it is your cousin, and your cousin will come after you if you don't deliver shit that will makes money. It will be like, dude, what did you what did you sell me? You know, what is this? I mean, people are complaining. I'm needing money. Hey, you should be really approaching this with the, with respect and with the idea that you're there to make more money for your client. And that's part of why I guess me and my studio we are successful, because we understand the business and we put a lot of effort to try to understand the business of the client. And once you're like 10, 20 years down the road, things are repeating themselves. So if a client comes and they're bringing a new soft drink on the market, we are already familiar with this, with their pains and pain points, and so we're familiar of what type of value we could bring on the table. And so things are repeating themselves, and once you do this for a number of years, then everything is much more easier. You just need to survive the first like 5 to maybe 7 years.
Yeah, well, easier said than done, but I got the concept, and it's really valuable tips that you have been giving out now. And
Could
this
I
leads
add
us.
something?
What? Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Could I add something? Yeah. So if you get into my LinkedIn, which is slash Ralev, basically, I mean LinkedIn slash in slash
I'll put
RALEV.
all the links in the description of the video and the podcast so
Yeah.
people can just scroll
Yeah.
down in case.
Yeah, yeah. The person listening to this podcast will notice that I've also studied later on business in different places, like into different places. So one was Cisco Entrepreneurship Institute, and then one was uh, a leadership program that was conveyed in Babson University summer program. That's yeah in the US, and I've always tried to develop not only my design skills and to learn some new shortcuts in Figma or something, but also to build up and improve my business skills. Also listening to a lot of self-helping books and things like this that will improve your understanding about yourself and the world, about how the other person is thinking and what you might be doing wrong or right with the communication with him or her. So I think this is very important because back in 2010, I already got the studio. I was having employees. I was considered a successful young person actually. Doing what I love and business going well. And I figured out, hey, I should build up and sign in this business school. And boy, I figured out that I don't know anything about business. I mean, what is scalable, what is not, what is MVP, how investors are thinking, what are the KPIs of some of the ventures they're building. And later on, this helped me to talk to their own language because they see in myself not only a designer, a skillful designer, but also a person that understands business. And things are much easier.
Were these further masters and educations that you have taken part at quite expensive to access, or because you
Yeah,
said
you
one is
should.
the Costco or something which is basically probably supported by the company. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, sure. The first one was very expensive. and even with scholarship that I got, I didn't have the money at the time because I had to pay employees, rent of the office, and so on. And I remember this was my first official credit. I, back at the time I didn't have credit for like a car or something, but my first credit was actually for this alternative MBA program. So that was the first time I got a couple of thousands of of leva, of euro, and paid for my program. And this, by the way, um, kind of put me in place because I knew I'm bleeding money and I need to take as much as I can from this educational, thing because I'm paying from my own money and I've got credit with it and I need to do my best. And the second one was in 2015. It was very a long applicational process, and basically I won a scholarship in the amount of about $50,000 or something, which was huge, and I'm very thankful to these guys. And is the Summer Entrepreneurship Program was called. Now I'm part of ABO, Association of Bulgarian Leaders and Entrepreneurs, which is the continuation of this program and the people that we are involved in, or the people that we're involved. And it gave me a lot. We got the chance to be brought to the Silicon Valley and meet with a lot of entrepreneurs firsthand. Like for example, one of the co-founders. I got the opportunity to pitch from in front of one of the co-founders of Couchsurfing.com. We were brought in the office of Airbnb, Google in I think New York, Airbnb in San Francisco, and some other venues, and it was eye-opening in so many levels. And once you see this from inside, you could either wish to be part of these companies, or you could say to yourself, "Hey, maybe I could build something like this one day." And yeah, I said the latest to myself. So I'm building stuff now. Sorry, I'm like talking too much, man. I don't
No,
think
no,
we
no,
have
no. You
to
don't like. I'm just
have
listening. I
questions.
like. I like when people start talking about the topic, and this is the beauty of podcasts. That we're not some. I don't know. In TV, you have 2-3 minutes to explain these concepts. So it's okay to give these stories and.
But this is very important, by the way, what you're saying to 3 minutes. It turns out, speaking with young designers, that they're not familiar with the concept of the elevator pitch.
Yes.
I guess, what is an elevator pitch. But for them, if they're listening now, they should check and they should train this and articulate this and be able to explain what they're doing in like 60 seconds. It's very,
Yes.
very, very important.
But this is we're not doing the TCI shortcast. We're doing the TCI podcast, so it's fine. And then maybe we can take off some clips of this stuff that are very
Sure.
valuable. But so one thing that I really was excited about when I mean I've heard about then what it's your other activity, as you said in the beginning, the Bulgarian Design Foundation, Bulgarian Design Group, and all these events that you are organizing.
Organizing.
And also Alex, she was telling that, for example, she got a lot of value out of this because she was also self-teaching her, and by going on these events where you have access to the people that actually know stuff, it's very helpful. I was super positively surprised because it, I left Bulgaria when I was really really young. I was a kid. I was 8 years old, and I know that I don't know. Sometimes you can tell me if I'm wrong, but sometimes the culture is not about it sharing. So, for example, in your case, people could you could have said yourself like, I have a company. I'm happy with my company. I'm doing money. I don't need to share anything because why should I? And how did this whole idea about this foundation, about this community started? Why did you decide that you wanted to create this sharing sort of design incubator, if you want to call it?
Yeah, I remember I was in university and I've started something called as a blog that was aiming to help all of the students from my discipline, from engineer design. And I didn't get, I couldn't do it. I mean, people were not responding well at the time. And after 2 years of hustling with it and pushing some blog posts out there, I figured out maybe the format should be different. And I remember we were with Sergei Punchev and some other friends, Pete Savova, local design heroes, and many more, some cool people from the 4 Plus studio. And we were having beers in a pub, and we were discussing that back in the days uh, there were these government organizations called CBH, and their goal was to unite the community, to highlight the interesting stuff, and and for some reason, after changing the regime and with the democracy coming, this was lost in a way. I mean, it was chaos, right? The organization wasn't functioning as it was functioning back in the days when, you know, it was socialism. So, I propose, hey guys, maybe we should do an association where, we help designers like us. We meet each other and so on. And they tap me on my shoulder, all of them, hey, Ralev, you go for it. You do it. We'll help with whatever we can, but it's your mission. You do it. It's your idea. You do it. Said, okay, I will do it, man. I will do it. I will. And of course, saying all these things on a table with having drinks and everything, it doesn't sound serious. But 15 years later, here I am doing my monthly meetups, moderating the group, helping people, and it slowly but surely became reality, and the critical mass gathered, and then from then it's much easier. The first thing is to really show that you're there, you're constant. Like if you are sharing news, if you're doing podcasts, you need to do this for years, so that people will understand that the chance for you to be as many more years there, it's real, um, and they will believe that they could team up with you in some level, because okay, I'm doing Bulgarian design group myself, but a lot of people are helping with little things. For example, now there's a person called Vicky helping with the Instagram. She's like curating content, but I've been doing this for years before that, and also another person from my team. So it's like a juggling with a lot of things, building a community like this. And you cannot, I repeat, you cannot do it alone. There's always some people that will help you. You're the core. You're always to always shine, be the star in the center of the galaxy of this system. But then, without all the other cool planets, you're nothing. And about your question, why I didn't thought, hey, these guys are my competition, why I should teach them and up the local level of designers. First thing is that I'm third generation teacher. I've been also teaching at the software university. My mother is a teacher at the university, Sofia University. My grandfather was a teacher. He was in a technical school teaching about machines, agro machines. I guess I have this in my blood, seeing how fruitful it is helping people and the harmony and the balance and the the way you feel after you see that people are growing, and some of them are thankful, some are not, of course, but yeah, that you're doing this for yourself. And I saw at the time that Bulgaria is recognized as a leading freelance spot for programming, for web development, for coding, for software, right? So I figured out, hey, design is very similar. It's a digital trade. Yeah, half of the people are developers here, but then the other half are into design, marketing, SEO, and we can show this to the world. So my goal was also selfish in a big way, not just helping the others, but helping together to develop Bulgaria as a spot that could be recognized from outside, and people could trust us with their design and digital projects. And if you have in Bulgaria proper web developers, why not order your UX? Why not order your branding? I mean, there's a synergy here. Everything's one big ecosystem that is being working well for some unicorns already, local unicorns, and we don't have the people. We just need to be united and to show to the other people, hey, we're here, we do quality work, we can help you.
And
So yeah.
one thing that I was curious about is that there are a lot of this, as you said, like you started this on a table on a beer, but then you carried on, and then you start building upon. So my curiosity is, how did you start back then from zero by saying, okay, I'm going to start this community, and how do you feel the community with people, events, interactions, content? Because we know there are a lot of people that start this community and then ending up being empty, being just this, I don't know, shell that at some point completely gets emptied. So yeah, my curiosity is, how was the day one, and how you kept feeling and how do you make people actually be active?
Yeah. So maybe one of the keys is the key parts of the recipe is that okay, the secret sauce. One of the secret sauces is that I respect everybody, and I want to create a community where people respect each other. So early on, I've stated that this community will not be like other communities where senior designers are like hating junior designers, and they're giving them headaches, and then making them feel uncomfortable of their junior work, and not not showing such cool stuff. Everybody, I'm joking that everybody was at the learning car. I don't know if that's in English, but there's a car where you learn how to drive, and everybody was there. All the good professionals, the cool rally drivers, and the people that are masters in their cars, they were first starting with A and B in the car, learning how to use the pedals, right? So that's something that's in the core of our organization. Never hate the work of somebody else. You don't know the brief, you don't know the circumstances, and you can ask, you can give suggestions, but never do hatred speech. This is not something I tolerate, and very rare miss posts like this. So I could conclude that maybe it's the moderation of the group, and people feel safe. People know that they could find proper information. For example, with the logo blink, I've learned the lesson that no matter how often I generate blog posts, eventually I will stop because it's too much of a hustle for me. The other people could not embrace it as their own, and they could not deliver as quality articles as I would like. So what I figured out is that I'll share the content that I find online while I'm developing myself. Because on daily basis, I'm looking to new articles that will help me with new technologies, with new software, and I'm I have these. So it's not a biggie just to click share and then share it in my group, right? So I'm this curator of content. I'm not producing it per se, but I'm curating it. So also we have a rule in our Bulgarian design group. If you want to showcase your work and to put something that's related to what you are doing, no matter if it's podcast or something else, you need to put at least 5 useful resources that haven't been published yet. So you need first to contribute in order to gain the attention of all the other people in this huge society, because it's now thousands and thousands of people. You cannot bother people. Hey, look my logo. I think it's very good. What do you think? No, we have a separate group for this one. It's a subgroup, by the way. Yeah. So I don't know. Trick is be honest, be thankful, enjoy people. Yeah. By the way, if you don't enjoy people, if you're not a people's person, if you're not an extrovert, if you don't like to communicate with people, if you don't love people, I doubt there's a chance to build a sustainable community, even online community only. So we're doing online and offline, and we respect each other. And I've also explained to my community that, because they've been asking, hey, why you're doing that? There's some secret. We don't, there's something fishy. How's that you have your own agency and then, you're bringing that much to the community? And I'm saying, guys, if I'm very good and one of the best in logo design locally, and I do have like maybe 10% of the premium logo design market in Bulgaria. Uh, it's okay for me to bring new people to widen the market and to have like 3 or 5% of this market, but then the market will be 5 times bigger. So I will have more on my plate as well, right? So if we grow the market, even though we'll shrink our percentage of what we own from the market, still, if you're developing this market, if you're recognized as one of the leaders in the market, you'll be good. You'll be doing really fine.
And this is again another way of thinking as an entrepreneur. It's not like it's thinking logically, thinking with the numbers without thinking only on your small garden, on your on your own yard, so to say, but enlarging the yard. And I love this because I think that especially in Bulgaria we have to start being aware of our skills, and that we're not less or more than any other community or specialist in the world. We can be
Yeah,
as
the
good
same
as,
is
yeah,
the same is valid for Romanian friends, for Ukrainian friends, for Estonian friends, for guys from Peru. Even though you're outside of the big markets, I mean, you're living outside of these markets, you're speaking the same language, you're providing the same services. You're one click away. You're
yes,
as good as everybody else.
yes. It's this and one thing that I would be curious, not more than, okay, now we got the reason why you're giving this value out there, but I can imagine that as every uh, agency owner and every creative, it's not a regular process, so it involves a lot of hours working. Are you doing this design community pro bono, and how much time takes away from you? Because I mean, time is very precious.
Wow. Time is precious, and I do have two kids, and one is 10 and one is 4, and they need time. I mean, you know, they're your kids. So I've started putting down like 2 years ago what time I do dedicate to the foundation, to this design group. And I was surprised because it turned out that I'm actually putting twice as much time as I think I put. So I was thinking, hey, I'm putting no more than 3-5 hours per week, and now I see that I'm putting 10, sometimes 15 hours per week for this community, because you need to approve new members. You need to maintain the website. You need to communicate and arrange the event. You need to talk to people who have direct requests in your personal chat, so people don't see this. You need to mentor people. You need to talk with potential sponsors and so on. Which brings us to how I've made this self-sustainable. At the beginning, I didn't seek any funds, any money out of it. Till recently, all the events were 100% free to visit and watch. And then I figured out. So this is how it works. If you're a member of Bulgarian Design Group, you have two memberships. One is like free, you're just a fan of what we are doing, you are out there in the system, could be reached, and so on. You're in the loop, right? You receive the newsletter and everything. But if you consider what we are doing valuable, we ask you to give us about €2.5 per month, which is peanuts, let's be honest, per year to pay your pro membership. And now, if you're a pro member, you have access to an archive of our events that are no longer online and could be watched only if you're supporting us. Something like a Patreon, right? The same principle, but before Patreon. And also you could benefit from some discounts that I'm trying to arrange with partners. So I don't ask for money if a company comes and approaches to advertise a workshop or an event that is paid. But what I'm asking is for discount for our pro members, for the members that are, trusting me to fight for their interest. So I'm the ambassador, I'm the entry point of all commercial interest that wants to tap in this community, and I'm trying to make both parties happy so that everything's win-win, right? And it's true that it costs a lot of money to maintain this, and I've been cannibalizing my Ralev.com team to do some of this work while they're not on clients' projects. So if the load is like 80%, I could easily dedicate 10% of my colleagues' developers' time to develop and improve some of the features on the website. Even though the website is really archaic and it's old school, but still it does the trick. We're maintaining a lot of things on it. So partially I'm funding this myself. Partially I do have partners that are helping with some rewards and some physical things. Last 3 or 4 years, I do have my first sponsor, and I'm grateful for this. It's paying for example, for partially for the hall where we do the events these days. So yeah, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, and how long did you take to make it self-sustainable and to make it somehow to convince these people to give you those, peanuts? But like, still, people sometimes say, "Okay, I could get this for free anyway, so I'm not gonna give you even the
Well,
peanuts."
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning, it was just a forum because, okay, in 2007, when we got this gathering, at the bar, forums like PHP, BB were dying already. So it wasn't a format that I wanted to choose strategically for, for the next 10 years. And I was saying, okay, what's new? And in 2007, Facebook was coming with this opportunity for creating this open kind of groups, and you can reach people in their profiles and you can learn so much more about the person, right? So I said, okay, let's do this organically, like let's see if there are enough people to actually, be interested in doing this design community. So the first step was to do this forum, to curate content, to discuss topics, design topics in it. Then maybe there were like 700 people in the group already when I proposed, hey, maybe we should actually start monthly meetups instead of just gathering occasionally on a beer. Maybe this should be a regular thing. And I started with my, I believe, my own. I had, I still have pretty good photo and video equipment because of my work with Ralev. So I use this to record the early events. People saw that things are happening. I found some partners from co-working spaces, and they gave us the space to convey these meetings, these meetups. And I saw that people are pretty positive about this, so I've continued. And my goal was to let's you know to continue doing this for example 3 years to see, can I do this with my work, with my kids, with everything? Can I do this for 3 consistent years, no matter what? And people respected this. They respected the fact that for so many years I've maybe skipped 1 or 2 months only. I've been there for them, so they know that even I'll be sick or somewhere, or I will rearrange everything so that there will be a monthly meetup for them. And that's, people can smell when you're genuine and when you're passionate about this, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is very important, and also for myself was the case that I have this concept of the like in the car you have like the red area for when you don't have fuel. I have the same thing, for example, for a podcast. So my red line is that I have to put out like a podcast a week. And this can be rarely going below, so it's rarely that the lamps turn on. I just don't do it if it doesn't make any sense. Like, for example, I don't know, if there is Christmas holidays, I say, okay, like there are Christmas holidays, I want people to actually be with their families instead of, I don't know, spending time listening to the podcast. And so this is my concept: when you start doing something, to set up yourself what is the line you would never go below, because otherwise you can fall off this momentum.
And you
So
need
it's,
discipline, yeah. You
yeah.
need the discipline. You need to be stubborn. I'm Sagittarius, so maybe that helps a little bit. You
I'm
know,
Leo. I'm Leo, so helps too.
yeah. This help. By the way, are you into human design? Do you know what is this, and how it works?
Is it the thing that you design spaces based on like how human body reacts to it? Like, for example,
Uh,
design.
it's about creating a map of your DNA and what are
Ah,
your
okay.
predispositions based on how you were formed as a human being and as a creature. So that helps. And if people are interested, there are people out there that could make such a chart. It's like a diagram, and they can explain to you what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, in what type of fields you will be very successful if you develop these. And I just recently created, actually it was maybe 2014 or something, I've learned about human design, and they made me a chart, but I forgot about it, and just recently I figured out that maybe it's a good thing to see things from another angle and create again a human design chart. And surprisingly, things were just as I feel them. I mean, I obviously intuitively found myself and what is my mission and what I'm good in and what I'm doing. And maybe I can tell you a little bit more about the studio and gamege.com, the product that I'm so passionate about.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, in this will be. I hope this will be useful for all the designers out there that are listening this, because design as the classic design team and the classic design studio, it is a service design. It is a service-based business. What this means is that uh, you're um, just like what a person that is fixing your plumbing, right? A plumber. So you do have certain amount of time per day, and you can utilize it as much as you can. But then, you need to go there to fix people's things, to fix people's designs, to fix people's brands. But then you have this time, and you very often charge, per hour, right? So I was looking to migrate in a way and create something that is a product coming out of our design studio. Yes, it's fun serving, clients. It's fun seeing your designs on billboards, on TV, on the supermarket chain, multiple venues across the city and the country. Oh, that is cool. But in order to rise your standard, you need to create a some design product. I'm saying design product because we're talking about design, but of course it could be another product as well. But you need to design a product that helps other people. And now with the Top Gun movie really popular these days, I could refer to one of Tom Cruise's earlier roles in Cocktail. Have you watched Cocktail? It's an 80s movie.
No,
It's
no,
one
I
of
haven't watched that one.
yeah, I'm into movies, as you can say. So Tom Cruise was getting out of the army, and he stashed some money. He got some money, and he was thinking, can I create something little like the umbrellas of the cocktails that everybody around the world is using? Something little but really helpful, and something maybe something that people like, so that I could actually benefit and retire early eventually. you know and this stuck early on in my mind, and combined with the books of Paul Wulitzer, like The Green King and Cash Money Fortune, the trilogy, and some other books like this. By the way, that's a French author who created a novels and fiction based on existing business schemes and mechanics. So while you're reading his books, you could actually uh, stumble upon some ideas of business ventures and how things could be done alternatively. Anyways, um, you know, the force is strong with me. The startup force is strong with me. So I figured out in 2016, I think it was, that my next startup should be something related to my kids. So I was a huge Kickstarter fan. I wanted to create the physical product because this is what I was studying at the university, but I've never actually done a physical product myself, only like digital stuff. I wanted to do something that that I enjoy. And at the time, I was big into board games. And I'm still playing a lot of board games, but this is how I start, thinking what would be the best board game in the world, how it will look like. What do I need if I'm to write my own brief? If this was an assignment from a client of mine, what the client would type in this brief so that it says, as a title, the best board game in the world. And I started thinking about it. Okay, it should be easy to transport, to be able to put it in your pocket. It should give you the freedom of not just playing one game, but playing multiple games. Maybe, like cards, right? You can play very simple, childish games, and then you can have poker and bridge and so many really challenging
Yeah.
games for adults. Okay, and I was like, okay, but I need some catchy, cool elements. So I thought, okay, maybe I enjoy magnets, so maybe I should put magnets in these pieces. Also, my superpower, having this superpower for graphic design, for building visual systems, and playing with semantics and images, symbols. Maybe I could create a system that is so versatile that could emulate a lot of existing games, and new games could be built around it. And this is how I came to the idea of building a board game framework. Even now, I think if you type boardgameframework.com, it will lead to gamegi.com. So from them, I started adding nice to have features. For example, Gamegi is the first game in the world, as far as I know, that is especially designed for, not adapted, but designed from scratch for visually impaired people. And that was something that I was inspired by a friend of mine, Zarko, from ABLE, one of the organizations I'm part of, and also from this watch, which is the first actually fully functional tactile watch in the world for people. You can touch it. Can you see it?
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. I saw
Yeah,
it
it's
before when you were
E1.
moving your arms, that it's an interesting
Yeah,
watch.
it's E1. Yeah, so the brand story behind this watch is that they called it, they were inspired by a person called Bradley. And Bradley lost his eyesight during a war, and then he decided to become a champion for swimming in the Olympics for visually impaired people. And only with 2 years of preparation, he managed to do this. And every time I'm seeing this watch and what the cool people from E1 have done, I'm thinking, hey, there are people out there with so many worries and problems, and you have to be grateful for what you have and for what your superpower is. And this is how I decided to, if I'm building the best board game in the world, then better, try to include this in. Because if somebody could build it in a way so that visually impaired people could be included, that's me. I'm so confident in my design skills and what I can do. Of course, there were a lot of prototypes, a lot of iterations. I've started reading books about game design, like psychology of games, how the mechanics work behind, of course, popular games like Monopoly, and of course, what's not working in these games, what could be improved, why people are hooked to play certain games. And I was with the mindset that even if this project doesn't work, I will gain so much knowledge and so many new skills out of it that it's worth trying, right? And now, 6 years later, with a successful Kickstarter campaign, we've managed to gather over 65,000 dollars in Kickstarter, in GoGo, and in the Pledge Manager, and over 1,000 boxes sold in 40 countries around the world, and with other micro achievements. I'm pretty happy with where we are going with this, and by saying we, of course, I'm doing this, and I'm again the main generator, but my wife is helping me. The cool guys from my studio, greetings to Marina, to Zlatko, to Ivo, to Daya, to Ani, Alex, to all the cool people that helped me through the years. Most of these projects would not be done without them, and Eli, of course, I forgot. And of course, there's so many people who are part of the studio, but let's say that, okay, I've created the product, but then I need the packaging, right? And I do have the vision for the box, how what will be the dimensions, and what will be the paper, the cover, the colors. But I'm asking for my colleague to pre-press this, right? To put all the main elements out there. So this product is also a team effort. And some of the people that I thanked, they are not any longer with the team, but I'm really grateful of what they contributed. And have you checked the website
Right
to
now,
see like the video?
I couldn't see the video, but I checked what it looks like, and it's really interesting. It looks, I don't know, something between a board game, a Lego, and something something like that.
Domino and
Domino, yeah, and you can see that it's inspired by the watch because the aesthetic is really similar, and they are certain insets. I mean, I can edit some pictures or put in the video in the background in this area so that
yeah.
while you talk, people can be
Yeah,
able to
they're
see.
basically 3 by 3 centimeters small chips, and there are 70 of these in a set. And these are magnetic and then could be attached to each other on every side. That's part of the engineering magic. And you could use these to play like really various games, solo games, up to games to 20 people, party games. You can play, easy games. You can play hard games with a lot of thinking and strategy. And, that's, Georgi, that's, do they call you George or Georgi, or how is it?
Georgi, it's fine. You're probably the first guest from Bulgaria that nails it. Because all the guests are Georgie, George. So Georgi, it's
Yeah.
fine to hear once in a while.
Yeah. So yeah, the goal, Georgi, was to have this like multi-board game tool, and to teach my kids into how to think, to be a like a mind framework for introducing to them concepts, like patience, like chasing and closing, for example, a situation or a deal or something. So all these strategies, they they are taught through this tool, and there are different games for these. There are memory games, there are games where you should count all the chips and figure out what the other person is holding, just like cards. So that's part of why I'm so enthusiastic about this, so that it could continue what I've been doing the last 10, 15 years with teaching and helping other people, but then in a newer dimension, really much more scalable. Because my goal is, for every family that could afford Lego and that wants the best for their children, to have not just one Lego, but one Gamgee set at home, so they could experience this thing and they could grow with the game, because the game is so flexible that allows for you to play it even if you're 4 years old or 94 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently came back from Denmark because I was there to visit Copenhagen. It was
Nice.
one of my
Dreams.
yeah, my dreams, because it's the mecca of architecture in my opinion. And you know, all the architects in Denmark always say like, yeah, we play with Lego, and they have other similar games that they use, so they get more creative. And
Kapla, for example.
I
You
think
know
they
Kapla?
Capo, I don't know. They have one that's called
Kapla,
some
these are.
like double pluses that they inset in each other. I don't know what is Capo.
Capo is wooden tiles, like small beams that are
Mm.
you can build structures and yeah.
And well, I hope that GameG can be the Bulgarian version of that, that also can enhance kids to build forms and shapes and enhance design somehow, and to level up the design skills, and to be as Lego is something that it's very creative. I was curious why it's called GameG. And one last thing, that usually I ask people about movies and about books, but you already mentioned so many. So my curiosity is, you said yourself you have two kids, you have a company, you curate this group, you have started this new startup GameG with the game. So the first question is, why it's called GameG, and the second question is, can you give us some productivity tip or how to stay focused and sharp in order to juggle with all these multiple activities you do?
Yeah, so it's called Gamgee or Jamgee because I wanted something short. I was fascinated by the Jumanji movie back in the days. Also, I am a huge fan of cyberpunk, so I wanted, have something futuristic. I do have tons of Lego sets at home, and when I was a kid, so I really admire how they developed the Lego brand, and I wanted something short with 4 or 5 letters because, this is the holy grail of branding and naming. If you could come up with something that is 4 or 5 letters and you could register this internationally and buy a domain name, .com that is like recognized even by elder people, and they are aware that this is a website. If they see, gamg.com, they will understand that this is like a web shop or something for this game. So I've started experimenting with different names. Of course, my naming process is probably different from the naming process of other people. But for this particular project, I want something that sounds sexy, catchy, a made-up word that combines a sounding like a game. So even though you don't know what it is, there is a big chance that it's about gaming, right? Gamji. It sounds like something playful. Later on, I've understood that Genji is a very popular name in Japan, which has made my choice more solid in terms of cyberpunk and Asian culture, related to what I wanted to achieve as a first ring in people's heads. And then, I wanted to convey the idea that the games are precious. They teach you so much. So gem, the word gem, GM, um, uh, it's it's also implemented into the name. So these are some of the main aspects. There are some tiny details that I want to don't want to get into too much of them, but this was something. So I've secured the domain name, I've secured the trademark in Europe, US, and some other countries and major markets, and Yeah, about the productivity hacks. The first hack, I guess, is to uh, love what you're doing. So when you're doing it, you don't think about it. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna go and spend my Sunday talking to Georgi and lose like 2 hours of my life. No, I'm enjoying the time with you and all the future friends that will probably listen to this podcast. And I'm grateful for your invitation. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I enjoy it. I don't look at this as a task in my calendar. Um, the second thing is that I'm workaholic. I'm Mark. I'm workaholic. Nice to meet you. Yeah, that's part of it. If a person, if another Mark out there is working, on his projects like maybe 20, 30 hours per week, and then if I'm working 60, 70 hours per week, well, I do have, mathematically speaking, back to the figures, I do have like three times the chance to succeed. And if you multiply this, over the years, it actually pays off. Because if you watch a car racing, for example, a Formula One or something, the advantage of the better drivers, the more skillful drivers, it just a little on the first couple of laps. And if laps are years, then fine. But after 30 laps or maybe after 10 laps, the advantage of these people is just immense. And you know that big things are achieved, you can see it with your eyes, that big things are achieved with small progress, like small maneuvers and a lot of small things that you do on daily basis. And I'm one of those people who wants to improve, all the time, read more, become a better person, become a better father, and I'm just insatiable in terms of know-how and information. I guess I'm a internet junkie or something. Also, I read a lot of books. I strongly recommend people to buy a Kindle or similar device in order to optimize the time for reading. I also do a lot of audiobooks nowadays, Audible and Storytel. These are huge starting points for these. And by the way, the audio could be changed a little bit because my headphones are with the battery is going down. So let me know.
No, it's all good.
It's all good. Okay. Um, and I really try to optimize everything in my life. Like if I'm doing a repetitive action, like walking or getting the trash out or something, I always try to maximize it, to optimize the time, because I know that I'll be doing this for thousands times more, again and again. And for designers specifically, when junior designers come in our studio, I always advise them to optimize their shortcuts, not for the graphic programs, but for working with browser and text and content. For example, selecting a whole line, selecting the third word on the third row. If you're doing this really fast with your fingers and with your mind, these things pile up. They really pile up. Also, just for practical purposes, for many years I was riding a motorbike in the city, which I called the teleport, because you're always splitting lanes and going really fast wherever you want. Nowadays with the kids, I'm still riding the bike, but I got some Kawasaki ER69, ER6N, but it's like a Street Fighter. It's kind of fast. But I'm also using electric scooters, for parks and stuff, and going to a city. I also arranged like a company scooters here at the office so that people could go and do their, dentist or whatever, really, really quick. Um, yeah, I'm guilty as many other people eating in front of the monitor or in front of the TV. But I do try to compensate with physical activities and to stay, as you say, sharp, not just mentally, but physically speaking, you know. I'm doing some exercises. I brought a it's not a machine, but it's a setup to do pull-ups.
Okay.
In the office, we are having like two Pilates yoga balls here at. Um, by the way, people should read more about Paul Chek, the person that introduced this type of balls into the fitness world. Really great guy. And I do use a lot of Goodreads. Do you know Goodreads?
That's the website for like checking the books if they're
Books.
good or
Yeah,
not.
it's really useful because I use Goodreads and I do follow some people that I respect a lot, and I cherish their judgment for picking up books, right? So if there's this guy, he's a local star, he's built up a unicorn company, and I do have his Goodreads. I respect him a lot from the time when he wasn't, such a big star. But I'm always checking, not always, but sometimes checking what he reads. Also, I do have other people that I trust a lot with their book judgment. So when I do have to, when I do have like 10 books in my to read list, I always like check what's the rating, what they're saying about these books, and um, I know that I could not read all the books, and I know that only with reading and listening to, sorry about this, but podcasts, you cannot achieve what you want to do. You have to go out and actually, roll your sleeves and start doing whatever you want.
No, but this is also what I said. It's not about that if you listen to a podcast, you've achieved something, but listen to the podcast is again a platform where you can
It's a platform. Yeah.
get to hear like because I don't
Get
like
inspired,
get inspired, but also try to have a
motivated.
conversation that it's genuine and it's not the
Okay.
classic. You can go to lectures, classes,
Yeah.
TV shows, but they are all set up. So like it's not so natural. So on a podcast, you can listen about something useful. It can be also an entertainment podcast, whatever people like to listen. And they can, at the end of the conversation, take away what they want. They can, and I don't think there are bad conversation or good conversation. Even if something it's
Of course.
maybe not so your thing, you know what is not your thing. So if somebody listens to this conversation and didn't like it, they can say, I don't know, I want to do it differently. So this is
It,
my opinion. But of course, there is the part where you listen to podcasts, which should be, I don't know, certain amount, and then you have to, or reading books. Also, reading a book, it's something that you learn, but it's not an output, and then put into practice what you learn. So that's of course,
I'm,
it's
uh, um, I'm referring more. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I'm referring to more to this vortex, because people who would like to improve and they're curious. Sometimes, if I have to put myself in the same basket, we are we are predispositioned to actually continue doing this forever and ever, right? You start with Guy Kawasaki, and then you turn out, and then you turn back, and maybe in 10 years for listening and reading these books, and yeah, that's nice, that's cool, but you have to dedicate time for your health, and for your project, and do this MVP, this minimum viable product, this uh, you know um, prototype. even though it's, it could be stupid or funny. By the way, a cool story that I've learned in my program in the US was a story from one of the lecturers from a startup that was about to build a company to facilitate. Okay, the startup was for having a valet for your car. So you go downtown in San Francisco and you don't have a convenient parking spot, and you are about to lose maybe 20, 30 minutes to circle around the blocks to find a place to park, or you need to go somewhere far to leave your car, right? But instead of this, they wanted to build a platform so that you can call, instead of a taxi, you can call a valet to grab your keys and park your car in a nearby parking. And you can tell them later, okay, I'll be finishing my work at 6. Please bring my car 6 sharp downstairs. So, most of the people will start with researching, okay, what's the best technology out there? Could we build a Frankenstein of ready-made modules and optimize the time for programming? But no, these guys, do you know how they started?
No, tell me.
They started with drawing a notice on a cardboard sitting in front of business buildings. I will park your car for free. So they started validating, hey, are there at all any guys that will, believe in this idea and trust us with their car keys? Of course, they put a domain and started, okay, coming soon page or something like this to make it more legit, dressed properly, not obviously like a beggar or something, but, they validated the whole idea with just a simple sign that you can draw by yourself in 5 minutes. And that just blow my mind. Like I was like, okay, I can validate an idea much earlier with less resources, with less time, and figure out if people are gonna love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoken about this topic already. Like, for example, the famous story of Dropbox, that they did a video about what the Dropbox would be able to do before coding all the Dropbox, because of course it's too
Much
much
harder.
work and you don't know
Yeah.
if it's gonna be successful. Mark, I have to say it was a really interesting talking to you. I've learned so much. I hope people that will listen to this will learn so much too. I remind them to check gameg.com and ralev.com, and if they're in Bulgaria, to visit the Bulgarian design group. And thank you very much for your time on a Sunday.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You rock. You too, man.
Bye-bye.